The parking lot because they're coming out. In your spot.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, it's always.
There's
It's not just here.
Aaron's here. Julie, Aaron's here.
I'd like to call the order of the Planning and Economic Committee, Development Committee for January 2nd, 2024. The deputy clerk, please take roll call.
Chairman Sipes,
Here.
Trustee Stromberg,
Here.
Trustee Bogie. Here. Mr. Tricky,
Here.
Miss Bailey.
Here.
The deputy clerk is present. The attorney is present. Amanda Miller is absent.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the December 4th, 2023 meeting. I have a motion and a second, please.
So made.
I have a motion by Trustee Stromberg and a second by Trustee Bogie. Are there any concerns or changes in it? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes have been approved. Next is ordinance 03-24, a variance for accessory building size regulations, 1017 Wood Avenue. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
So be.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Tricky and a second by Mrs. Bailey. Could we have staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. This property owner desires to replace his existing shed with a 1,000 square foot garage. 1,000 square feet is typically the maximum size permitted for a detached accessory building in a residential district. However, because this lot is smaller, only an 821.9 square foot garage should be allowed here. There is no hardship or unusual circumstance that necessitates a larger garage. However, staff finds that this size garage should not be a detriment to the surroundings, and we recommend approval of the variance. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant present would like to address the committee? Would you like to address the committee?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions? Seeing none, can we take a vote, please? Roll call.
Trustee Stromberg,
Aye.
Trustee Bogie. Aye. Mr. Tricky,
Aye.
Miss Bailey. Aye. Chairman Sipes,
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
So ordinance 03-24 will go to the January 16th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is ordinance 04-24, a variance for commercial drive-through width requirements, 7005 North Prairieville Road. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So be.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Tricky and a second by Trustee Stromberg. We have staff report, please.
Yep, this is a variance from the regulation adopted last year to require that drive-through lanes be at least 12 feet wide. The Wintrust Bank proposed to be located at the northeast corner of West Lane Road and Prairieville Road would have a drive-through lanes that are only 11 feet wide, including the outside lane. Having these lanes only 11 feet wide directly at the banking terminals is not expected to be a danger. In fact, it'll force vehicles to pull in there slowly and get the vehicles closer to the window or to the banking terminals. So even though this lot has not been platted yet and the site could be made wide enough to avoid the need for this variance, staff is recommending approval of the variance with conditions that the 11 feet is measured from inside curb to inside curb. And we want to point out that there may be other concerns with traffic circulation, specifically for emergency vehicles accessing all sides of this building. And this variance only rectifies the fact that these drive-through widths do not comply with our zoning regulations. And the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval of the variance with conditions as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant present to address the committee?
Thank you.
State your name and address, please.
Mark Robinson, 218 Dade Road, Fontana, Wisconsin. I'm with First Midwest Group, the owner of the property, an affiliate of the owner of the property. I guess just the record was created at the last committee meeting. I want to just walk through a little bit of that. The corner we're talking about is the northeast corner of Prairieville and 173. It is a commercially zoned district. It is the highest and best use on that corner is very dense commercial use, we believe. There's a limited amount of corridor frontage on 173 between here and I-90 that's left to develop. We think we've got it's in the municipality's best interest, taxpayers' best interest over the long term to try to have dense development on that frontage. We see it happening on the south side of 173 at the Speedway site. We want to get in the ground and have things moving as they're developing at the same time so that the next retailers that come have our site as an option as well as theirs. This building is the first of the buildings of the 10 lots that we're talking about. Carrie mentioned that this site is not platted yet, so there could be room in theory to develop east-west. To the west, we have at the southwest corner a water main and some concrete infrastructure there already. We have built a retaining wall. We built the beginnings of a retaining wall. If you've seen it, it's out there. We'll complete that shortly. That is right on the edge of that easement area. We've been allowed to infringe on North Park Water's easement in that area. So we're moving beyond where we could have before to that southwest corner. The west side, there's currently a number of easements along that west side, so we're constricted there. On the south side, we have floodway and we have significant topographic changes heading down to 173. We can't build that way. And as you move to the east, if we move any further this border to the east, we're going to lose that lot that we have between this and the road that comes north-south through this development. Because on the other side of that road, there's significant grade changes and there's floodway that we have not moved yet, that over the course of time, we'll be able to move that potentially to add some more lots to the northeast of that, but we can't move any further east. So we are constricted, we believe, to this portion. We can't go east and west. We've had some discussions with the fire department as well as staff has had, so I think we can resolve those issues outside of this, and that's not part of the hearing tonight. So I'm here for any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. Any discussions or questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Would the deputy clerk please take vote?
Trustee Bogie?
Aye.
Mr. Tricky?
Aye.
Ms. Bailey?
Aye.
Chairman Sipes?
Aye.
Trustee Stromberg?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Thank you. Ordinance 04-24 will also go to the January 16th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is ordinance 05-24, a variance for accessory building size regulation 814 Evans Avenue. May I have a motion in a second, please?
So made. Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Bailey and a second by Trustee Stromberg. Can we have staff report, please?
Yep, this is a similar variance request as our earlier item, but in this case, the property is large enough that a maximum of 1,000 square feet of accessory building area can be permitted. However, with the addition of the homeowner's desired shed, the total area would be 1,040 square feet. Again, there's no hardship or special circumstance, but this additional shed is not expected to be a danger or detriment to the surroundings, and staff does recommend approval of the variance. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval as well.
Thank you. The applicant present would like to address the committee.
No, I don't have no questions.
Thank you. Is there any questions or discussions? Seeing none, can we take a vote, please?
Mr. Tricky?
Aye.
Ms. Bailey?
Aye.
Chairman Sipes?
Aye.
Trustee Stromberg?
Aye.
Trustee Bogie?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Thank you. Ordinance 05-24 will go to the January 16th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is resolution 01R-24, a final plot for Windridge Plot 10. May I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Stromberg and a second by Mrs. Bailey. Can we have staff report, please?
Yep, this final plat actually includes the Wintrust lot, the Wintrust Bank lot that was discussed earlier. This plat would subdivide one lot in Windridge subdivision into 10 separate commercial lots, in addition to vacating the south end of Chandon and platting a short extension of Hutchins Road as a public roadway to run south of Discount Tire on the east side of Perryville. And this is a road that would access these new commercial lots with a private roadway extending south off of Hutchins to go down to the rest of the commercial lots. There are a number of minor corrections and additions to be made to the plat before it is circulated for signatures, and the applicant does still need to provide us with an estimated cost of the public improvements and secure a surety for 115% of those costs. Those are all conditions in the resolution for the plat approval. And I want to point out that the resolution that was in your packets states that a variance will need to be applied for Hutchins Road to be only 66 feet wide, where the requirement is an 80-foot wide right-of-way for commercial roadways. However, actually, the variance for that right-of-way width can be part of this approval that you guys are voting on tonight. That will go on to the board without requiring a separate application. So an additional whereas has been added to that resolution to address the fact that this includes a variance for that right-of-way width. And staff does feel that the reduced width is not a concern, and we are hoping for a positive recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to address this again?
You would. Mark Robinson, 218 Day Road, Fontana, Wisconsin. Thank you all. I want to thank the city staff too for working with us on this plat. There's been a lot of iterations. We said, hey, we got a hillside over there. We want to do something with it fast. And they've been great about helping us get there. So I appreciate that. I guess the one statement I do want to make is the road, the 66-foot road. We had talked about that initially with the fire department, other people with the municipality before we put it onto a plan. The city engineer the village engineer was okay with that concept. He can speak for himself, obviously. But it seems to make sense here. There's no need for an 8-foot road. The main traffic is going to be to the south and to the west. This is an artery that matches the same size as the artery just to the north in Anjali and other similar situated roads. Like I said, there weren't any concern. I'm here to answer the concerns about that width tonight. That is a concern for us. We want to make sure we can lock down this plan and keep moving.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, could you take roll call, please?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Bailey?
Aye.
Chairman Sipes?
Aye.
Trustee Stromberg?
Aye.
Trustee Bogie?
Aye.
Mr. Tricky?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Thank you. Resolution 01-R-24 will also go to the January 16th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next on the agenda is reports. Are there any reports? Seeing none, next is public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the committee for the good of the village? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So be.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Tricky and a second by Mrs. Bailey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.